It's been a while since my last video. I've been away in Crete on holiday for my brother's wedding, and then I came back and we went away to Wales for the second part of the wedding. And I don't think I realised until I went away how much of a break I needed, just from work. But also, I love doing the YouTube videos and the riding and stuff, but I think I needed a break from all of that as well. So it was good to just stop everything and have a bit of a break and some family time. And I thought I'd come back from that raring to go. I thought I'd come back with a bang, get back on the workouts, on the races, on the weight loss, all of that sort of stuff. The opposite happened. I came back and had a bit of holiday blues, came back into the routine of work, etc. And having had such a relaxing time, I couldn't get back into kind of doing the usual things that I do with work and riding and everything. And it was a bit disjointed with going away again. And I felt a little bit down for a little while. Thankfully, that seems to have passed now. I did get back onto keto as of 2 days ago. But aside from feeling rubbish since getting back, we had a wonderful break. I've never been on an all-inclusive holiday before. And I definitely took full advantage of it. All the drink, I had lager and cocktails and all of the food that was available as well. Definitely took advantage of it. Because I'm not feeling 100% at the moment, I'm not going to jump on the scales and see how bad it is. But I am back on the keto a couple of days ago, as I mentioned. So we had a wonderful hotel overlooking with a beach, overlooking the sea. The wedding was literally a few hotels up. It was just great to have a break and not do a lot. And then we went away to Wales and stayed on a beautiful farm overlooking the Welsh countryside and stuff. So it's been awesome. I really, really enjoyed it. But now I feel like I've got my mindset back into it. I'll talk about riding and sort of plans then in a minute, because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. But I've got a couple of fun things. So I've put together this little t-shirt. It's just got the T2.5 logo. It's blue and it's very plain. I put it together on Teespring, but also for certain members of the group who I know talk about Pink Squad, done a pink one as well. I've just put those together because people have mentioned before about doing T2.5 cycling jerseys and the cost involved with that, and I'm not a designer in any way, so trying to design it and put together the costs for you guys to buy that, it's not something we can buy in big enough quantities to make it worthwhile. But I thought if this is print to order or from Teespring, and if it's something you're interested in, it's on a banner below the YouTube video down below. $16.99, a blue version and a pink version. If it's something you want, you can go down there and get it. I make literally pennies from it, so it's not for my benefit. But if you're interested and you want to have something T2.5 merchandise, go for it in the banner below. I've also been talking to a couple of guys from the T2.5 community. I had a bit of an idea, and a few other people throughout the year have suggested it. Since we did the tour of Yorkshire back at the early part of this year, I wanted to try and do something for the winter, and I didn't know whether to do sort of one-off series, one-off races, but come up with a plan of a T2.5 Zwift World Tour. So starting in October and lasting for 6 months across the 10 worlds, there'll be 14 races on a Sunday. There'll be varying times on a Sunday. For the Tour of Yorkshire, we did 9 o'clock every Sunday. This one will be varying times throughout the Sunday to give other people in other areas of the world the chance to race. And it's race for points in each of the categories, just in the same way that we did at the Tour of Yorkshire. What I don't know yet is quite the exact rules, and we don't know the exact schedule. There'll be have to ride something like 8, 9, 10 out of the 14 races as a minimum. And yeah, don't know what the schedule is yet. So keep an eye out on Facebook, Discord, and on here. And as soon as I've put together the race schedule, with the help of some of the guys in the background as well, hopefully we can put together something that's going to be fun to last us through the winter. Lots of people coming back onto Zwift. I wanted to give something fun even for myself to jump onto and do in the colder winter months. Not that I get outside on the bike, but just something different and interesting to do. And I'm quite looking forward to it. Hopefully I can earn myself some points as well. So keep an eye out for that. Plans then for cycling. I as I said, I thought I'd come back all guns blazing, raring to go, wanting to get back onto workouts and things, but I don't really know. Because of the way my mindset is now, I want to get back on a ride. I rode the Tuesday Trundle on Tuesday night. It's not that I don't want to ride. I'm just trying to decide what it is that I want to do. And there's a lot of routes on Zwift that I still haven't ticked off. Mainly the longer routes. There are a few short ones in there as well. Because we don't pick them up for our 3 events that we do throughout the week. And I quite like to start ticking those off. And I think they'll get me on the bike. On the flip side, I really enjoyed the workout schedule that I did. And part of me thinks I can use the next few months before Christmas to get another workout schedule in. But that's going to be alongside the world tour. I can't decide which one to do. I think the thing that's going to get me on the bike at the moment more is the route ticking. But give me a bit of a challenge. Let me know what you guys would like me to do. Which one you'd rather watch. I would imagine the workouts are probably more fun to watch on YouTube than me ticking off routes. But let me know in the description below and I'll take those on board and have a think about what I'm going to do. Put something into place as of next week so I get on the bike a little bit more, shift some more of the weight, plus the bit that I've put on over holiday, however much that is, and continue that weight loss before the end of the year. I'd like to use sort of the 3-4 months between now and Christmas to take that next big step like I feel like I did, especially in weight loss in the last couple of months. So yeah, let me know what you think on that. The FTP test, talking about workouts, I did the FTP test, the 4DP test before I went away. The video for that is coming. I just haven't had the chance to put it together yet since coming back. But obviously the workout plan will take all of that statistical data and all of the analysis it did on my riding style into account to recommend, I think, a training plan for me. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But today is Wednesday and that means it is race day. First race I have done in probably a month. I don't think I even did the last couple before I went away on holiday for varying reasons. So it's going to be a slightly difficult one, I think. I have a slight issue. And I think I put it down to driving. I've got a slight twinge in my knee, and I noticed it on the Trundle on Tuesday night. It's a slight twinge in my knee, and I think I've put it down to driving. I used to drive an hour to and then an hour from work every day. So I was always in my car. It's the same car, but I now don't drive. I work from home mostly, and the longest journey I do is about 10-15 minutes to go into town with an odd longer drive. But the drive down to Wales was 3.5 hours, back to back, day to day. I think that slightly affected my knee, weirdly, because I had the same issue a couple of months ago when I did a long journey in the car. My knee was hurting me a little bit. I don't know why that is. I have no idea how that suddenly come about. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to driving my car anymore, which is weird considering how much time I used to spend in it. So hopefully, going back to not driving, that knee twinge will go and it won't affect me too much on the race tonight. But we shall see, and I will see you there. So in typical me fashion, I had a bit of a technical hitch just before starting. I noticed my microphone wasn't working, so I leant over the PC to pull it out and pulled the camera out by mistake. I tried plugging that back in, but I couldn't get an image back up, and it was 90 seconds before the race was due to start, so I thought I'd do it as a talk over, like I do on the workouts. But we've started here, and I'm trying, as I do in every race I do, this is the first race back for a long time, but I want to try and stay in with the D group, try and work together with them for as long as I possibly can. A relatively big D group as well during this race, and this is a very, very flat course, which has historically led to some awesome races for us. We always seem to combine very close to the finish line, a couple of kilometres out, all 3 groups. We don't tend to have an A group, but B, C and D all converge together to sprint to the line. A relatively big group, as I said here: K Quinn, D Dixon, A Evans, P Anderson, B Jenkinson, me, L Warrior, S Clark, B Dark. I think I've said everybody there. We're about 40 seconds in so far. Being the first race back and having that knee issue, I must say I didn't get that knee issue during this race. It seems to hopefully have subsided slightly, and I'm doing all right here. I'm putting out 270 odd watts, feeling relatively okay, not too bad. They're sitting in with the group quite well. Jumping ahead to 5 minutes in, you can see my graph along the bottom is relatively consistent. It's moving up and down through the different levels, the green, orange and red, and a little bit of blue in there as well, but maintaining a relatively steady pace. Not yet seeing the spikiness that I tend to get in my racing graphs. We've got the C category have closed the gap already. They started 2 minutes after us and they've closed it down to 1 minute 33 already. But we are working really, really well as a group, taking it in turns on the front, kind of working as a blob, trying to keep those guys behind us. I think it's quite a big C group behind us as well in this race as well. So they've got a bit of a nice added benefit of draft and the size of their group behind us. And obviously the Bs will have gone by this point already, coming up to 6 minutes in, but working quite well together. I tend to like these flatter races because I just find them a lot easier to stay within the group. If I start hitting a hill with the weight that I'm at and the effort to put out the relative watts per kilogram as other riders, I tend to kind of drop out the back. So I do like the flatter races like this, definitely. 10 minutes into the race, I'm feeling quite good. I'm quite surprised how I'm actually doing, considering I've been off for a little while, especially doing the harder efforts. I'm managing to stay with the group okay, not finding it too difficult. Heart rate up around 160, 165, and watts are just over 200, kind of to keep between 200 and 250 to keep me within the group, which is working really, really well together. We're at the 5 minute mark. There was about a 1:30 gap, and that is now at the 10 minute mark, or 11 minutes as we just ticked over at 1:07. So we're doing a really good job working together, putting out what we can. What we got? We got watts per kilogram around 2.3. I can see in the group that we're in at the moment. Just trying to keep that gap as big as we can for as long as we can, to make them put in a lot of effort to try and catch us. At this point, I have no idea how far the B group are behind the C's. They're probably quite a little way back because it's a flat route. We've got to try and catch on a flat, and they're a smaller group than the D's and the C's together, but they do tend to catch us a little bit further on in the race. But feeling quite strong at this point. I'm happy with the graph along the bottom. I'm not hit my point. I mean, we're only 10 minutes in, but I kind of thought I'd be up to my spiky power graph quite early, given that I haven't put out these high efforts for a while. But yeah, I'm happy at this point. Just coming up to the turn that kind of marks the halfway point in this race, 9.8 kilometers to go. We've done that in 16 minutes, and the C's have closed the gap to 45 seconds. I like this course because when you pass the little loop at the end and go back on yourself, you can kind of gauge the distance as you pass the other categories chasing behind you. You can gauge that distance that you are ahead of them. We don't see the C's though. They're close enough to be on the loop by the time we're off the loop ourselves. But you can also see that my power is starting to get a bit spiky. Before this, I was trying to manage my power to make sure I didn't shoot too far forward in the group and drop too far back. I'm kind of losing that a little bit now. You can see where the building up of power through the green, the orange and the red, and then the drop off as I've just done there, and then build up again. That's the issue that I kind of get quite regularly with my cycling. And I think the workouts that I did before I went away really, really helped. I think this is the B group coming past now. Yeah, the workouts that I did before I went on holiday really, really helped me to kind of prolong my endurance and just keep it at a steady pace for a while. And it's something I need to continue to work on. I think it doesn't help necessarily how many. I need to put out quite a lot of watts. I know it's less on flat, but I do need to put out quite a lot of watts compared to some of the lighter riders, and I think that takes it out of my legs quite quickly. But yeah, doing well here. It's still working really hard as a group, trying our hardest as usual to keep that C group behind us for as long as possible. They're down to 39 seconds now. 21 minutes gone, 6.7 kilometers to go. That gap's down to 23, and I think I started seeing messages around this point that the Bs are catching the Cs. So they start to work together pretty soon together to catch us at the front, but still feeling okay. But you can see that my graph's gone really spiky. I've just dropped off the back slightly here. One thing I have learned doing those workouts is I know my graph jumps up to red there to try and close that gap and get back onto the back of that group of riders.
I used to do that at a lot higher level, shoot out the front, catch and shoot out the front of them and then drop off. I kind of learnt over the course of time that I can just up the power slightly, stop drifting back from them and gradually catch them. And I kind of feel I now have the ability to do that because I can put out those watts for slightly longer rather than going crazy, catching them really fast and then dropping off the back and taking more energy out of myself by doing it that way. But yeah, just over 6 kilometers to go. Gap has dropped to 17 seconds. It won't be long until they catch us. Again, it's going to be close towards that finish line with 6 kilometers left to go. And it didn't take long for them to catch us. Still just over 5 kilometers to go. They've moved up to about 4 seconds behind us. And you can see I've kind of upped my watts to try what has happened before. These bigger categories come through. I'm trying to catch onto the back of them. And maybe it's the chance to, with the idea of working with your categories kind of gone out the window at this point. You're just trying to hang on to the group that comes through if you can, and maybe drop some of your own group. So I put my power up a little bit to try and get in with this group as they meet us. You can see I've whacked it up to over 760 watts there, just to try and get my speed up, make sure I get within the group. And actually, I think the majority of the Ds follow in that move as well. And we work together as a massive group here of riders where everyone's come together. I think, yes, the Bs are in here as well. So everybody's come together at one point, and then it's just a case of hanging on for as long as you possibly can to those faster and stronger riders. Clearly, we benefit from the bigger group. I benefit from the bigger group with the draft saving and it being flat. If this was a hilly course, there was no way I'd keep up with these guys. But because it's flat, I have that chance. And I kind of try and sit in there as long as I can. You can see my power spikes where I've tried to catch onto the back of that group and make sure I don't get dropped, just in case it splits. I want to kind of be in that front. At this point, I'm still feeling relatively strong. I don't feel that I can sprint to the line, though. I'm kind of hanging on a little bit. 175 BPM heart rate. For me, this is just a case of if I can stay in this blob for as long as possible and some other people get dropped off the back, that's how I'll improve my race results. I don't see myself being able to join in with a sprint at the end, especially with the much stronger riders, the Bs and the Cs, and the stronger Ds that we have in the group. So, but doing much better than I expected, definitely. 3 kilometers to go and we get the first breakaway. Jonesy's going for it nice and early. And I think this group split a little bit at this point with people trying to stay with Jonesy and go at the front as well. Unfortunately, I can't quite see on the right hand side because I'm too far to the back of the group to see who does go. I think John Kerr's joined him now. He's gone off up the road, and a few of the other guys kind of split this group a bit, I think, trying to put the effort in to catch back on. I can't really read the race. I can see C. Waring in that group as well. And at this point, I kind of thought to myself, what do I do? Do I sit in this group, or there's that little group you can just see forming ahead as we're all trying to catch up with them? What do I do? And I kind of thought I need to put out some big numbers to at least give it a go to stay within that group, which I did. And we don't catch Jonesy and John Kerr now. They go from this point all the way to the end of the race, and we don't see them again, which is incredible effort considering the size of the blob. You can see Julia's going there to try and bridge that gap as well. And I'm putting out red zone efforts as much as I can to try and catch them too. I think I catch them a little bit further together. And actually, I think the whole group eventually comes back together, or the majority of it does anyway, as we go and try and close that gap. Now, when we did this race before, the finish line was actually here, going this way under this bridge. And I think that's because we did it on a meetup. Whereas the finish now, you have to do the loop at the end. It's still 2 kilometers to go. Come back round and finish the race. And I think that through a few people were caught out by that and probably started to drop their power slightly, or even thought they finished the line and dropped right off. And unfortunately, yeah, it hasn't. Still 2 kilometers to go. And as you can see, that group has come back together now. And this is the reason I love this course for a race. We've got 500 meters left to go, just crossed that line there, and everybody's come together. Apart from the 2 guys who've gone off the front, we are ready now. You see Latix going for it there as well. I think that's Ben Bishop going off up the road too. A couple of people making the breakaway. I'm putting out some higher level efforts and that is more to just try and stay with the group, I think, rather than try and sprint to the line. But I love this. Everyone's sprinting, giving everything that they've got in this huge group that we've got. Kind of turns into a bit of a line. I'm going for it, trying to catch a few people if I can. I think I caught P Davies. I didn't quite catch Jay Robinson before the line, but I love that. Just the group sprint to the end, giving everything that you've got. And there we go, across the line. What a race that was. Really, really enjoyed it. And for the first race back, absolutely amazing that I could keep up with everybody. I'm quite surprised I did, if I'm completely honest with you. An average of 229 watts, 1.9 watts per kilogram. So that is slightly lower than what I've been getting in races before I went away and before a bit of a break. Although I was up at, I think it was about 2.1 watts per kilogram. That's probably partially because it's a flatter course and I haven't needed necessarily to put out the higher watts to stay with the group. But equally, I think if it had been a hilly race where I'd need to put out some more, I don't think I would have been able to do it. I was kind of at my limit, I think, for that race. But nowhere near going back necessarily as far as I thought I was. I thought I might have fresher legs, but I talked about that before the race. I didn't necessarily feel that fresh and I had a bit of a niggle in my knee, but I'm happy. 229 watts, finishing 12th place, in with a blob at the end. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Looking at the race results then, John wins it with 7-second lead in the end over Jonesy, who went very, very early in second. Ben Bishop in third, just beating N. Corbin to the line, who in turn, I mean, these are all going to be very, very close. S. West in fifth, C. Waring in sixth, Julia in seventh. Look how close this is, 14-15 seconds gaps. A. Pimer, L. Warrior, C. Cole, J. Robinson, me, P. Davies, A. Evans, C. Finlayson, Andy Bullimore, B. Jenkinson, S. Clark, M. Blundell, K. Quinn, P. Anderson, MK, D. Dixon, W. Myers, and B. Dark.
I really, really enjoyed that. Great to be back in a race. And I love how that all came together at the end and created a bunch sprint to the line. It's difficult watching the video back to see where the sprints were for everybody, but it's just brilliant. I love it when one of the races comes together like that. It's so much fun. And I did better than I thought I was going to do. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, actually. I realised this before, recording it and putting that on YouTube, knowing how bad a sort of 3 weeks I've had in terms of diet and not being able to ride because I've been away. I thought I'd do really, really badly. I'd drop off the front really, really quickly, but I didn't. And I stayed with the group and I got to the end as part of the group. I had nothing left for the sprint at the end, but I stayed in with that group. So I'm really, really happy with that. Hopefully the improvement continues now. It's probably slightly down on what my performance could be or has been a few weeks ago, but nowhere near as bad as it could be. So I'm happy with that. I want to say a huge thank you to all the channel members and these guys here for being either a member on Buy Me a Coffee or on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support, especially during times when I'm not releasing as many videos. I'm back on it now, so thank you for your support during that. If it's something you're interested in, the links for those are in the description below. And if you want to get your hands on one of these, either the pink one or the blue one, there's a banner below this YouTube video. You can just click on it and go to that. I think the pink ones are slightly harder to get hold of. I mentioned they're print on demand, but the pink ones seem to kind of go in and out of stock on a regular basis. So if you want these, you might have to keep checking back to them. But the blue ones I've not seen any issues with. So click below the video, there's just that little banner. You can head towards there as well. If you want to join a T2.5 ride, we do 3 rides a week. Tuesday night is our Tuesday Trundle, an unbanded ride. Thursday night is race night, and Saturday morning is our banded group ride. All of the information in the description below on how to join those rides. And are you looking forward to the T2.5 World Tour starting in October? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll release the schedule and stuff in a couple of days probably. It may already be up on Facebook and Discord, but I'll put it in a video in the near future as well. I've got a few tweaks still to do on the rules and the point system, all of that stuff, but the race schedule will be there with the dates and the times spread across different times on a Sunday. So keep an eye out for that as well. That is the end of this video. If you have enjoyed it, do hit like and subscribe. And I've mentioned a few times in this about doing a workout schedule. And if you've not seen what I've done, I'll put a link in one of these sides where I'll take back to the first video where I did the half Monty fitness test on a Wahoo system. So if you're interested in that, go and watch that video. But I'll see you on the next one.